All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. I am recording this program for the young Egyptian couple that came into the store the other day, and they just got married, and they were buying a bunch of stuff, and I was signing them up for the loyalty program, the coupon program to help them if they wanted to purchase stuff in the future, they get coupons. And he says, I have to know his birthday. He says it's 9/11. So I was like, ooh, that's uh that's a rough date to be born. He's like, yeah, but I was born first, which indicated to me that that's not the first time he'd heard that. I'm 60, so we repeat a lot of stuff. And so we got to talking, and I said, but September 11th is the first day of creation. He's like, really? And I could see a sense of relief come over his face. Now he has something that he can tell others that is a better relationship to his birthday than the towers in 2001. And so we're talking, and I said, yeah, I belong to a whole group of people that we're trying to figure out when Jesus is coming back. I said, are you guys Christian? He's like, we are. I said, oh, a newlywed Egyptian Christian couple. And you know what I find, like when something rings up 1611, and I'll say, ah, did you know that's the date that the King James Bible was put together? And 99% of the time I'll get, oh, and give me my change. They don't have any interest in it. But I could see in the eyes of this young married couple, their eyes lit up and they started to get. Now I have a strict rule at work that I don't take up company time. I'm getting paid by that company not to preach or anything like that. So I don't. I can't. They're paying me to work. They're not paying me to stand there and preach to people. And besides that, some people might take offense, and it would actually harm the company. So I can't. I certainly can't do that. But see their eyes light up, and they're like, "Yeah, we're Christians." I said, "Christians from Egypt." I said, "That is awesome." I said, "Yeah, I belong to a group of people." I says, "We're all over YouTube, Facebook. We're walking the streets. We're warning everybody that Jesus is about to return." And his eyes lit up, and hers did too. And they started asking me a million questions. And truth be told, I held the line up for a moment, but I said, I have to help the next customer. But if you're interested, there's a lot of us on YouTube. Just Google Jesus Return, and you'll see a lot of us on there talking about it. And we all approach it at a lot of different ways. And it's very important that you listen to the underlying message. It is not the date. It never has been. It has been such a joy over the last 35 years of my life it was frustrating. I am not even going to lie. It was frustrating until I could figure out, and we could have picked any Gregorian date, and I might have saved myself 30 years worth of research if I had just chose any Gregorian date and counted it out and said, okay, this matches. Nope, this doesn't match. But when I heard March 17th, as you know, that matches to Jesus being conceived on December the 25th. And after that, everything just fell into place. It was beautiful. So I think, and you know how I am, and I could be wrong about the name, but I believe I remember the name Lewis. So this is for you, Lewis. I'm going to make a video on the timeline. I gave 3 dates, high watch days, not guarantees, not thus saith the Lord, but high watch days that jump out on the timeline. And this high watch date that's coming up, things go quiet for about 30 days on my timeline. So I will be watching everyone else's work and their math to be looking towards the next high watch day. So I gave you the 11th, the 12th, and the 16th or the 15th at sunset. So I'm going to get into some pictures and show you something that came up with Chris. Chris, like, apparently Chris had a dream or something or a vision, and he kept seeing 31, 31, 31. And this is where this timeline comes into play, and that is there are four gates. Enoch speaks of a 360-day year, and everybody runs with it. But you got to keep reading. He hasn't stopped talking yet. He describes the 360 days and how they're periods of 30 days each, and it adds up to 360. That's a full circle, and it all makes sense. But as you know, when we're looking at everything, nothing makes sense. The sun does not stay in the same spot every year. It processes, it moves. It has moved through all the constellations and will move through the water that's being poured out by Aquarius during the 1,000-year millennium. Again, another match for March 17th. And the moon is 28 and a half days. The sun processes. Everything changes every single, every year, but we can see it in real time over a period of time. And so everybody's like, no, we're going to use the moon. It doesn't match. How a month must be 28 days and there must be 13 of them. No, that's not what the Bible teaches at all. It's not what even Enoch said. So when nothing matches and you put it all together, it actually all matches. Like the moon does come into realignment every 19 years. The sun is processing through the constellations, telling us the biblical story of everything from creation in Gemini to the flood in Taurus to Jesus being here in Aries to us now, this last 2,000 years in Pisces, and then the last 1,000 years, it'll be going through that water in the constellation of Aquarius. So the story is there, right there in front of us. But the underlying message is Jesus is the only way to heaven. We are all sinners. We're all sinners, every single one of us. We all deserve hell. Picture us all already in hell, and Jesus cast out a lifeline. And it's just he's done everything, all the work. He got the line, he made the line, he made it strong enough, he threw it in, and all you had to do is reach out and take it. All you had to do is take that cup and drink from it. My friend from Egypt, I believe, would know the story better than me of the Galilean wedding and how all of this stuff was put together, the dowry, everything was put together. But the final thing was to hand her a cup. At that moment, she could have denied the cup, or she could have taken the cup and sipped it. Did she save herself? No, of course not. The groom did all the work to bring that cup to her. She didn't do anything for her salvation. The salvation was in the cup. She had nothing to do with what was in the cup. And so she takes the cup. And that's the underlying message that everybody has. And us arguing back and forth over timelines and calendars and this and this and this, none of that is profitable whatsoever towards the salvation of the people. And remember, during the tribulation, there will be a great multitude. People, and it wears me out, honestly. There's a rapture, and then everybody else goes to hell. No, not even close. Or the 24 elders, they aren't us. We're going in the sixth seal. Now you just brought punishment upon the people that Jesus said he wasn't going to bring punishment upon. We're going to escape all these things. It's what it says. The Bible says that. You don't go and cherry pick verses out of the Bible to support your misconception. You take the hard verses that make no sense to you and you study them in relationship to the rest of the Bible to come to a conclusion that makes sense. And that is the only way to do it. And that's how we know about pre-tribulational rapture. That's how we know salvation by grace and grace alone. We do see verses, well, faith without works is dead. Who is it talking to? You have to know who it's talking to. I had somebody send me an email and I'm still not quite sure what their message was, but every verse that they used was out of Matthew. And I said, every verse you chose to show me something. And I think what you're trying to say is that there's no pre-tribulation rapture. I'm not sure because he didn't get to a point, but he showed me everything out of Matthew. And I said, you're looking at this through the eyes of the Jews, because the Matthew is written basically to the Jews. Luke is written to the bride, the pre-tribulational rapture bride, the ones that will suffer nothing, and then the tribulation saint. They will have to work. They have work to do. Faith without works is death. That verse is speaking to them. They have to work. They cannot receive that mark. They have to profess Jesus. They have work to do. They will be under the judgment of God. The judgment of God begins at the first seal. No, the first seal is not open yet, hasn't begun. No, we're not in the last 1,000 years. Do your math. I mean, that's just basic math. Just go into Genesis and see how long everybody lived. Flood 1656. You go through. We're in the 6,000 year. Nobody should be able to deny that. That's literally undeniable. But you have these people who will go out of their way to say the most bizarre things, and I'm just like, I don't even know where you're getting that from. Where does that even come from? How are you doing that? You're going directly against the Bible, and when you're going directly against the Bible, you know that's an evil spirit. This evil spirit is going to come at everybody as soon as the rapture occurs. He's going to come at everybody in your fashion. You believe it's in the 1,000 years? The Antichrist is going to come to you going, yeah, you were right the whole time, man. We're in the 1,000 years. If you believe that the people that are leaving, because there's a verses that will say that, taken out of context, but they will say that, well, the evil are taken out of the way. Oh, that must be the raptured bride. They're the evil ones. They're taken out of the way. They're going to come at you with everything, every misconception that you have, and support your misconception, and you will in the end wind up in the lake of the fire in the lake of fire if you don't correct that and go back to the Bible and say, this is what the Bible says. That's it. If the Bible says this, we have to make sense of it in light of the Bible, not in light of how we feel, not in light of, somebody over there said this. You have to go straight to the scripture and say, okay, those workers, those who work for their salvation, they're not saved. Faith without works is death. It's the lake of fire. What does that mean? How do two opposite verses make sense? And you have to make sense of both of them. You can't ignore the one and accept the other and say, I figured it out. You haven't figured it out until you understand it's dispensationalism, and you have to understand who that verse is speaking to. That verse, all those verses are, as a matter of fact, most of the verses, since bride, you don't need anything else. Most of those verses are not speaking to you. Most of those verses are speaking to the tribulation saint and to the Jew. And there's so many groups. There's a group that's going to appear in seal 6. There's another group that we see that appears that God's going to raise at the end and judge them, and then some are going to go to everlasting fire, and some are going to go to everlasting life. That's at the very end. Who are those people? Are they during the 1,000 year millennium? I don't know. There's a lot of questions I still have, but I do know one thing. The Bible is truth and every man is a liar. Not one man, not some, every man is a liar, meaning that if I say something, go into the Bible, look it up for yourself, and come to the conclusion in light of the entire Bible, not because somebody said, yeah, we're in the 1,000 years. And then you go off like a parrot and repeat that garbage and do that kind of thing. And all you're doing is harming yourself because you haven't become intimate with the Word of God. Get into the Bible and study it. And I see the comments, and literally breaks my heart that in my line at work, the only people that were actually, not only, I mean, I've had others. I had one guy recognize me at work. He was like, "Oh my God, this repo man 64. What are you doing here?" I'm like, "This is my life." But it's really unfortunate that I have a line full of Americans from all nationalities going through, and any comment I make goes completely ignored, just completely unrecognized, just by everybody. Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, oh there's Christian. They just keep, but a very very small percentage of them. This young couple from Egypt. Did I say Greece? If I said Greece, I meant Egypt. No, I did. I said Egyptian. They're Egypt. They're from Egypt. And I said, and this young couple was receptive to what I was saying. Their eyes lit up. I could see it. I could see the Holy Spirit in them. I could see it because when you talk to somebody who's interested, doesn't know, maybe they don't know anything, but they're interested. That right there, my friends, is salvation. That couple is saved. They professed that they believed on Jesus and that they didn't seem to know a lot, or I don't know. I didn't have enough time to talk to them, but it was very exciting for me to see that this young couple was following Jesus, which was literally awesome, right? So let me get into the pictures. I'm going to show you my final date until the calendar goes quiet. And again, God might be using the Hebrew calendar. I don't think he's using the full moon. I don't think he's using some offset 1 month calendar. God is either going to use the Hebrew calendar, the Jewish calendar, in order to bring them to jealousy, or he's using this one which is mathematically sound. So far, I can't find any reason why. And I would. I've told you that, and I'm not asking anybody to trust me, but I have told you that many times. I've built timelines, several of them, and I had to pull them off the wall and throw them away. And I was upset because I could not find it ahead of the year. And when I finally did, and then as soon as I started putting it all down, the flood happens on October 31st, the whole world in their native languages recognized that a cataclysmic event happened on October 31st. They all call that's All Saints Day. They all have something around that date that they're like, and of course they would know because the 8 people on the boat would have brought records through. So the Essenes, who are the Essenes? In 400 BC, King Antiochus decided we're going to worship the moon. We're going to start each. We're going to start each a month based on the sliver moon. And he forced this. As a matter of fact, he forced it so hard that any Jew that would not follow it would go to jail or be killed. So he forced this in 400 BC. By the year 172 BC, after that king was long gone and dead, they recognized that this calendar would not work. Obviously, it's 29 and a half days, or is it 28 and a half or 20? I think it's 29 and a half days between moon cycles. And so it wouldn't work. It wouldn't fit because there's literally mathematically 364 days in a year using a sidereal day, or 365 days in a year using a solar year. It's different. Sidereal means stellar. It's based on a star in a far distance in Ursa Minor. Now, where was I? I went on. Oh, the Essenes. The Essenes were a Jewish or Hebrew. I don't know what they were called back in the day, but they were a group of people that kept time. And when they saw what King Antiochus, King Antichrist, did with the sliver moon concept, they took all of their writings and they went to a cave and put them in jars in a cave. That's where the Qumran scrolls come from. They are from the Essenes. They are the writings of the Essenes. The Essenes also had the writings of Enoch, which when they and the Old Testament, and when they take all of that, they found all that information in Qumran in the caves, and they compare it to today's stuff. It is so close. It's so like it's right there within the time span. And ironically, it matches my timeline, which I found long before I even knew that story, starting the year off on March 17th. Not patting myself on the back. I simply want you to recognize we have a high watch day coming up. Not going to save your soul to know it, but it is watching, and I think we need to do that. So let me get into the pictures. At any rate, the Essenes hid those Dead Sea Scrolls, and they found them. I think it was 1950. Was it 1950? And they hid it, and then this information is slowly filtering out now, and we're actually being able to see that when things actually happen. Now, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they found this Feast of New Wine, and you guys can't hear the thunder, but it was going to rain. I was going to mow, right? I was going to mow and I was going to come here all covered in grass and everything. But I looked at the Weather Channel and it said this huge storm is coming through. And I said, well, let me get out to the secret broadcast cave before it rains. Big lightning coming or big thunder coming. I just saw a huge lightning. It's about 10 miles away, 12 miles, 14 miles. It's a long ways away. So I decided to come out here before it started raining. But now that I'm out here, it's really thundering and raining. Okay, so these scrolls were found, as you know, in the 1950s, and the information's coming out. And so anyway, let me get into the pictures. Let's see here. Let me move me up out of the way here. All right. Yes. This, except for the cigarette, this is kind of what all of us who do math look like. There are so many, I couldn't even begin to name them. There's a guy that does, is it New Jerusalem City? I don't even recall. Let me see what is his channel called? Uh, yeah, New Jerusalem City. He does this triangle thing and he does math. and he's a math whiz, so I can't even keep up with what he's doing, but he comes up with interesting finds on that. But this is what we kind of all look like. We all have this, if this then that type scenario going on all the time. But it's okay because this guy's not going to save you. This guy is not Jesus. Jesus is what's going to save you. It's the intimacy and the there's people, like I said in the last program, about Jason over at Truth Seeker. He was out handing out Bibles. And I used the analogy that there's two people handing out Bibles. They both look identical. One of them is absolutely and completely saved, and the other one is going into the tribulation, where that's a really loud one. Going into the tribulation, where he will have a chance to accept the Lord and be saved. Even though he was handing out Bibles, that did not save him. That didn't save him whatsoever. So this guy here can't save you. Just keep watching, and the more intimate you become, where you're desirous of knowing more of this stuff, is what separates you from somebody who's just handing out Bibles for money or doing stuff for money. That's the difference, you know? All right. This is Daniel 10:12. Now, we had a passage in here, and it kind of makes sense to what I'm looking at right now. It says, Then he said unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 1 and 20 days, 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief priests, princes, came to help me. Princes came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. So there is some kind of a holdup, a 21-day holdup, right? We see that written right here in the book of Daniel, which is a very important book leading us towards the end times, saying that there's a 21-day delay, and it's not for now. I'm not talking about now, it's for the future. And so if there's a war going on in heaven, and Michael and the angels are fighting against the devil, and he's kicked out of heaven, we know that's the moment we go up. Satan is kicked out, we go up. You could relate that to bombs dropping. I say when heaven is fighting, earth is fighting. I mean, it goes hand in hand, right? So, but when Satan is cast out, we're brought up. That we know. Do we go when a nuclear bomb is beginning to fall? That I don't know, but I do know we go up as Satan's cast out. Okay? 21 days. There's a lot of numbers here, or not a lot. There's a few numbers here I want you to remember. 21 days. Very interesting, right? What is this? Oh, this is the Dead Sea Scrolls on the Feast of New Wine. Yes, the Feast of New Wine is found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Do I have this out of order? No. Let me see. Uh, I don't know why. I guess I just wanted you to know that in Qumran, they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Oh, I do know why. Description of the idealized temple including these unique festivals, the Qumran community, potentially the Essenes. See, they don't know 100%, or these people here, but it is the Essenes are who left the scrolls in Qumran. Were who authored these scrolls seem to have emphasized these celebrations as a part of their religious practice. So the Feast of New Wine is found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, found in Qumran, and yes, the Essenes are the ones who were collecting all of this time information. So that's why they had the writings of the Old Testament. That's why they had the writings of Enoch, and that's why they had their own writings that they put in there showing the head of the year as being March 17th. Now, maybe it was out of order. Let me enlarge this a little bit so we can all see it. The Dead Sea Scrolls mention a Feast of New Wine, which is a festival not found in the traditional Hebrew Bible. It's detailed in the 10th scroll, a document among the Dead Sea Scrolls. This feast occurs on the third day of the 5th month of Av. It occurs 50 days after the Feast of First Fruits of Grain, Shavuot. I have been struggling for a very long time to know if they are called, because Shavuot's not found in the Bible. Pentecost is. The word, as far as I know, and maybe I'm saying that backwards, but as far as I know, Shavuot is not found in the Bible, but the word Pentecost is. It means the 50-day count. The best I could understand was Shavuot and Pentecost are one and the same, unless you want to call it Ascension Day. Then Shavuot is not the same. Ascension Day does not happen on the same date as Pentecost. So depending on what you want to call Shavuot, do you want to call it Ascension Day? The problem is there's two 50-day counts, one from when Jesus rises, one from when Jesus was crucified. Both counts. One 50-day count is for, no, just wait for a second. I told you already, just wait. One, I didn't even see him standing there. One, grandsons, what are you going to do? Chick, go get him. She's not going to go get him. So one 50-day count is from, unleavened bread. People are confusing these two counts. One's from unleavened bread, one is from first fruits when Jesus rose and performed the wave sheaf offering. Wave sheaf offering, how do you call unleavened bread? They're both separate counts. They're not the same. And they're designed that way on purpose because they are 3.5 days apart. And it took me a very long time to finally figure out when these things land. And now I know. I just don't know what you want to call Shavuot. I would call Shavuot Ascension Day personally because it is a different count from the unleavened bread. All right, so let me keep going. Also, and this is just an explanation. This is nothing more than an explanation as to why the year is 364 days, but Enoch ascended when it was 365, and there are in fact 365 days in a year. This is why God is explaining to us. We see this event. We all know about Joshua's long day, but it didn't go away. It never stopped. What it did was, what you could say, I don't know if we could say that. What you could say is that 4 minutes a day make up that long day over the course of 364 days. It is 24 hours. It's almost as, I don't know. I don't even know how to word this, but what I do know is God did this on a single 24-hour period, turning 24 hours into almost 48 hours. The other 20 minutes, it was 23 hours and 50 something minutes, and the other, or 40 minutes, and the other 20 minutes came from when Ezekiel, when I think it was Ezekiel, when he changed time. At any rate, to fix this problem now that we currently have, we have to add 4 minutes per day every day. So the further we get down towards, from the beginning of the year, March, down towards the end, we have a 24-hour period we have to recognize. Now, Chris over Global Rapture Watchers, it makes a video, and I believe he said he had a dream. He kept seeing 31, 31, 31. He says, I have no idea what it means. Chris, I know what it means. I'm about to show you what it means, and it is huge, and it is really cool, and it is the last date that I was looking at, 11, 12, and 16. Remember, our calendars are 75 days off, so there'll always be, if it says it's the 1st, it's the 15th. If it says it's the 15th, it's the 1st. It's always, if it's the 7th, it's the 21st. It's always exactly 75 days off, but 2 months and 15 days. So I know what this 31 is, Chris. I'm going to show you what that 31 means. And man, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I found all of these. And I've explained this before, but I have a lot of new subscribers. I want to quickly go over it. A Pentecost must be counted from a wave sheaf offering. It does not allow you to stack these events here. The Bible doesn't give you that permission to do it. You don't go 50 days and then go another 50 days and then another 50 days and attempt to bring yourself to the fourth Pentecost. It won't work because you must count from a wave sheaf offering. It dawns on me that Jesus made more than one way. It's the only way to fix it. It is the only way to fix it. And the Bible is very clear that Jesus appeared to them 3 different times. He said, these 3 times has he been seen of us. We've seen this guy 3 times in the last 14 days, which indicates there's 37 days left to count. And when we count it that way, then we wind up on May 25th. And then 3.5 or 84 hours later, we have Pentecost, the first one. Then the wave sheaf offering 7 days later from Thomas in the upper room. Count 50 days from the Sabbath after. You're staying on Sunday, so you got to go to the next Saturday. And you count. Aaron over at Got a Minute was actually correct, but I contacted him. We had a little conversation. He says, no, I just count strictly from the day he resurrected. I said, but he rose on Sunday. Yes. I said, but you have to count from the Sabbath. And he counts from the Sabbath before, which, well, we weren't raptured. But what if he was right? He was just off by 7 days. What if it is coming up here on June 15th? Hopefully I'm not saying May when I'm meaning June. I did that in a video. Everybody, guys, look, if I misspeak, you know it. You already know me well enough. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the Sabbath. How do I know it's from the Sabbath? Because it says, from the day that you brought the wave sheaf offering, brought it on a Sunday. Always brings it on a Sunday. Jesus rose on a Sunday. He did not bring the wave sheaf offering while he was in the grave. He didn't bring it before he went to the cross. He brought it that Sunday. Mary, don't touch me, for I have not ascended to the Father. He ascends to the Father. He performs a wave sheaf offering. And then he comes back on the Emmaus Road. The guy's in the upper room, and poof, disappears right in front of them. And the next time we hear about him at Thomas in the upper room. And then again, he's gone. And then we hear about him again on the shore with bread and fish. These 3 times has he been seen of us. We have seen him 40 days in total. Since we have no more stories of him appearing to people a week later, a week later, a week later, that means what? That means he began to walk with them for that last 37 days because he had been seen of them for those 3 days. This is the only way I can reconcile this. And I always had a problem with this. I've said it in a video years ago. I says, I don't like the Pentecost count. It tells me to count from the Sabbath after. Pentecost falls on a Sunday, so I have to go to, I said, that's 57 days in between each, and that winds up down around October. I said, it doesn't make any sense to me. This count makes no sense. And so I just said, you know what? I'm going to build this based on this. I had that, at work. I realized, wait a second, there was more than one wave sheaf offering. This is awesome. Let me do a count from just wave sheaf offerings. The only possible time Jesus could have made these wave sheaf offerings was when he wasn't present with them, and he was not present with them during those 3. He was present with them during those 3 days, but 3 days out of the 14 days, he wasn't present with them. So there's only count of 3 plus 37. And then when else could there possibly, because the book of Acts talks about 4 Pentecostal events, 4 times the Holy Spirit. After that, he kept coming, but it was on those Sundays that it kept happening. How do you count it? Well, there was a 4th time. It was further off. I didn't see it. It was the day Jesus ascended. He performed the final wave sheaf offering there. That's why people are counting, and that's why we see it in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that you are to count from Shavuot forward 50 days, and then you will have the Feast of New Wine on Av 3, the 3rd of Av. That's when you will have it. And I'm like, how in the world? None of that counts. And like I said, I spent years working on that until I just kind of gave up. I didn't know. But then when I read this, you shall count, dawns on me. There's more than one wave sheaf offering. There's 4 of them. And when you count the 50 days like we were told to from the next Sabbath, not from the one yesterday because it's Sunday, from the next one, and you count 50 days, guess where you land on all these very important days that we have been going through right now. So this verse here, let me enlarge this. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, and they were all in with one accord in one place, and suddenly there came a sound of heaven as of rushing mighty wind, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled the house where they were sitting, and there appeared unto them cloven. So again, this is I'm not sure. This is in the book of Acts, right? Acts 2:1. No, this would be one of the first ones of the. But when the Pentecost fully came, if there's four of them, then you know. I wanted to just promote this guy's channel. Really nice guy. He's been on quite a bit lately with who is it? Derek from Bible Study with Derek. He's been on him with him a few times. I had an opportunity to be on Departure Heaven the other night. That was fun. And so just promoting his channel. Just another guy, another gal that loves the Lord and is trying to get the message out there to as many people as we can. All right, and that's probably the picture I'm going to use. All right, let me go back to this. Now, remember all those numbers I gave you. Chris is 31. Remember all those. Let's go here. After all that talking, we're going to go here. Jesus performed a wave sheaf offering because, according to Levitical law, you will only count a wave sheaf. You will only count a Pentecost 50 days after a wave sheaf offering. Either there's only one Pentecost, or there are four wave sheaf offerings. If the Essenes are wrong in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and that you must count from Ascension Day, which I think I now will call Shavuot because I wasn't sure. If you count 50 days from that, you come down here. I found this fourth Pentecost a long time ago before I saw that that they are calling it the third of Av, the second of Av. I would say that it goes until sunset here, becoming the third of Av. But this is to be one day off. I'm okay with that. This is July 17th. And again, plus 8 hours. So that's probably why it looks to be one day off when it's not. The Essenes and the Dead Sea Scrolls said that that you will count 50 days after Shavuot. Shavuot is the day Jesus ascended. Jesus' ascension is a different count. It has nothing to do with the wave sheaf offering. Jesus' ascension has everything to do with him walking with them for 40 days. He appeared when he rose. He appeared to Thomas in the upper room. He appeared on the shore with bread and fish when they caught the 153 fish. There is a verse that says, these three times says they've been seen of us. There is a verse that says we have seen him 40 days in total. 3 days in this 14-day period plus 37 days brings us over here to May 25th, Sivan 10. You count 50 days after this, and we should land on day 50 days after this, and we should land down here on July 17th, the second of Av, third of Av, according to the scenes. And that's exactly what happens. Now, Chris, why are you dreaming about 31? Remember, when Moses goes up, God says, okay, get you down there, tell them to wash their clothes in it, be ready unto the third day. Be ready unto the third day. The clouds descend. My high watch days were the 11th, the day Moses was given the law, the 12th, the day of Pentecost, and the day that I believe is switched around with Israel. The first become last, the last become first. And this Pentecost being to the bride, be ready unto the third day. 1, 2, 3. Sivan 31. This is what I was telling you about the book of Enoch and how they read it. Yes, there are 30 days every month, but there are 4 Sabbaths of time every year, totaling 364 days. If you don't count 364 days, I have no idea what you're going to do with the extra 5 days. I know what I'm going to do with the extra day at the end of every single year. Joshua's long day. I'm going to count it by 4 minutes a day, every single day. 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 16 minutes. That's where Joshua's long day is. God was giving us a clue that Count your calendar by 364, but recognize a solar day. This is a stellar day. These two here are stellar. Add 8 minutes, that's solar. So where we say, oh, it started March 18th at midnight. No, it didn't. It started March 18th at midnight at 12:08. That's when it started midnight. March 18th, 12:08. That is a solar day. This is stellar right here. So that's why this of two, like we saw, uh, is how you count 50 days after Shavuot, and we come down here to of two, and it works out perfectly. Now remember, you must count. Why is it? This is set day 70. This is day 123. You must count the morrow. This is not the Sabbath. The Sabbath is over here from where Jesus ascended. We have to go forward to the Sabbath, day 73. Now you count 50. This is the Sabbath here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and even unto the next day. Day 123. That's how the number is 3 days more, because Jesus went to the cross on a Wednesday and the Sabbath begins on a Saturday. And you must count, just like it says in Leviticus, you must count from the morrow, from the Sabbath, by the Sabbaths. It doesn't say count by the Sundays, it says count by the Sabbaths. So you have to use the Sabbaths, and then you count. And this is the Feast of New Wine. I have put a little arrow because I had it here. I just wasn't sure where to put it. I had no idea all this time how to count it. Now I do. I am very confident that these three Pentecosts and then this Pentecost. I don't like talking about this fourth Pentecost where the Jew and the Gentile are together. It almost appears to me that this Pentecost is set up for a future date to where we're all together, where we have the bride, we have the tribulation saint, and we have the Jew all together. And it happens around this time. And again, the Essenes called it Ob 3. So we're right there within the right time limit. Now, Chris, Savon 31. This is the first Sabbath of the year. This is the first gate. This is the first watch. It ends here at sunset plus 6 hours. So sunset in Israel plus 6 hours, it might be around midnight in Israel. When this time, if we're and it again, I don't know the day or the hour, because I don't know if God's going to use a stellar day or if he's going to use a solar day. Whatever it is, if it's June 15th at midnight here in America, it would be June 15th at 6 a.m. here in America. It would be 6 hours later. So I don't know which one he will use. I think this is why we can't know the day or the hours, because we really could never lock it down, because I don't know which one he would use. Is he going to use stellar? Is he going to use solar? Or I don't know. So if you were seeing this, Chris, Savon 31 is right here. It is June 15th, and it ends right here at sunset. And the next day, the second watch begins, summer begins, and summer begins on June 16th. You take a ball and you throw it back and forth, right? I don't have a ball, or I would do that, but just imagine throwing back a ball back and forth, okay? The moment you release the ball climbs, and then it comes back down. The moment you release the ball is your starting point. It's not the height of where the ball is or where the ball landed. The height, the starting point is when you threw it. It's the same thing with the way we gauge our year. Everybody, of course, is going to go to the longest day of the year, but what they don't realize is the sun stayed in the 23.5 degree mark for 16 or 15 days. I mean, stayed in there for 15 days. And what they'll do is they'll take 16, they'll add 7 to it, because half of the point is in the middle. It's at the height. It is the longest day or the shortest day of the year. That is true. But it had a starting point, and this is the starting point. This is when it hits the 23.5 degree mark, and it comes out here of the 23.5 degree mark, and over here, halfway in between, we could just call it here, June 23rd, June 22nd, is the longest day of the year. It is in the 23.5 degree mark between these two dates, okay? So that's why the beginning of summer is not on the day or the longest day or the shortest day or whatever however they gauge that, it is from the moment that the sun hit the 23.5 degree mark. June 16th, Tammuz 1. Noah, and if this weren't true, God would have done stuff on the 21st, but he didn't do anything. The stuff that we see that lands up on either the head of the month or the middle of the month. It does never lands up, hardly ever. We did see one event where it does land on the, and it's a big event, obviously. This is the unleavened bread. It's the oddball, it's the odd man out, 7th to the 21st, or the 14th to the 21st, which wound up being from the 1st to the 7th or 6th, we'll say. So it's a little bit out of place. That's the only one I can find is 14 to 21. Typically he goes from the first of Tammuz or the 15th, and like this Sivan 15 or the cross the 14th, type of stuff like that. So I don't think we're going to be here for this one. I think we're waiting for these 3 days. And here's one more thing for you, Chris, about Sivan 31. Remember, I showed you that passage where the Prince of Persia held up the angel for 21 days when you first set your heart to understand. 1, 2, 3. 21 days after Ascension Day is the first Sabbath of the year of time. It is Sivan 31, June 15th, plus 6 hours. Are we going to see something here? What's the date? It is the 14th right now. So we're right here, actually. We're a day before. So you see everything going on. It's really exciting right now. I wanted to put this out so I could show you how the Pentecost count can only be biblical this way. You can't stack the Pentecost, but we do see where it says to count from that Shavuot. It is biblical. I could never reconcile it before until I figured this out. Sabbath after, da da da. And then I found the Essenes. I just Googled it this morning. I was like, dude, when do the Essenes say the Feast of New Wine is? And lo and behold, it was Av 3. I have Av 2nd here, off by a day, which is honestly the Gregorian calendar. That's plus 8 hours. So am I really off by a day? The Gregorian calendar is also wrong. Every 3 or 4 thousand years, it's off by a day. So that might be accounting for why the Essenes in 400 BC, hiding this information away in the Qumran caves from King Antiochus, who was out to kill everyone who didn't use the sliver moon. So we'll see. All right, so I've got all that. I think I did all that. Stop sharing. Anyway, go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody except the Lord in your heart. I have to take a very hungry grandson who couldn't wait. Just couldn't wait. He had to come out and ask if he could have a snack. I'm like, no, we're going to eat. He's like a bottomless pit, and he's only 9. I can hardly wait till he's 15. Yeah, he'll be in heaven. It'll be God's problem. God will be feeding him, and he can eat all he wants up there. So yeah, all's good. Everything's going to end up just perfect. So let me go feed this kid. I hope he doesn't want Popeyes again. That gave me such a stomachache last night, but I have to eat wherever he says because we don't get to do this very often. And then tomorrow's Father's Day, and one of my sons, I have 3 sons and 3 daughters. One of my sons is going to take me out to eat tomorrow. I didn't even realize it was Father's Day. He's like, "Hey, where are we going, old man?" I'm like, I don't care. Why? I didn't even realize it was Father's Day. And then my wife's like, "You know why he's taking you out on Sunday, right?" I'm like, "No, he just came out of the blue and said he wanted to take me out to eat." She's like, "It's Father's Day." I'm like, "Oh, okay. All right." So my son's going to take me out to eat. He's an aircraft mechanic. He's really cool. He works on airplanes, fabrication and everything. I don't even know. It's like really cool stuff. My other son does too. So both of them are here. Well, actually, one just flew to Hawaii. One's in Hawaii. Where that kind of made me nervous. Every time there's an earthquake or a volcano, I'm like, "Are you okay?" Because he's over there working on airplanes. They both do. Anyway, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we're about to see you in heaven. This is almost over. If you were going to go tell somebody, anybody, anywhere on planet Earth, if you see me go, now's the time to do it. We are out of time. Everything is unfolding. And look, I was talking with Spinebreaker and with Tony from the Cataclysm, Tony early, and I said, in the end, I never figured it out. I can't go to heaven and say I figured it all out. In the end, I didn't. In the end, God told us, just like He said He would in Amos 3:7. And when that shoe dropped, we saw what was going on between Israel and Iran, and there's so much more to come. Don't get worried. Don't be stressed. Uh, the rapture is about to occur. We are so close now. We've been waiting for this event. And again, like I said, Amos 3:7, I always knew, I said it 1,000 times on here. None of us are going to figure this out. In the end, God is going to tell us. He is going to fulfill. That's why I'm so strict when I read the Bible. I don't take liberties. If it doesn't say it, I can't do it. And that's exactly how I read the Bible. And the Bible says God is going to tell us. And in the end, when I get to heaven, I'm not going to get a high five and he's standing up there with me in front of everybody. This guy figured it out. What a guy. No, literally, I'm going to be up there going, man, how much did I mess up? How much did I get wrong? Because that's what's going to happen. I probably have a couple of things wrong, I'm sure. But no, in the end, he's going to tell us. And he can't wait. He can't wait to tell you. He can't wait. He's so looking forward to seeing you. He's been waiting to see you for a very long time. He died on that cross for you. It was horrendous what he did. He didn't, he's God Almighty, and he did all that for you. He did all that for you because he loves you. And he is so looking forward to seeing you, absolutely you, in your, you cross through that door, you shut that door, all those sins are on the other side. Go and sin no more means that there is no more sin counted to you. When you show up in heaven, you will be totally covered in the blood of Christ. You will be totally covered by that glistening, brilliant white robe that you didn't deserve, but there you are. And yes, you will be very humble at that moment. And Jesus is going to be like a kid, I think. The what? See, that's the thing, right? Jesus is going to be different to all of us a little bit, right? In our own way. And I'm going to see this super approachable young guy going, "Yo, wait, it's you. You're here. I've been waiting for you. Man, the timelines you really worked on, you screwed it up, but you really worked on it. Great. I was really excited. And the things you saw and the things you did, and you know, and he's going to be giving me props. He's going to be telling me, "Well done, good and faithful servant." And I'm going to be like, uh, this is your coat. I'm wearing your covering. You did all this, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be what a day. And if you want to listen to what heaven looks like, this guy has a very unique ability. It's called "I'm Awake Are You." His name is Brian, and I get lost. If he would, and no, I'm not dictating your channel. You do a fantastic job. But if you could spend 15 minutes describing heaven, and he does it in most videos, but he describes heaven in a fashion to where I know I feel like I'm standing right there. And he comes up with the most coolest scenarios of different things, and I'm just like, where does this guy come up with this stuff? But that's his gift. That's his piece of the puzzle. It's absolutely beautiful. So if you were going to go subscribe to a channel, subscribe to "I'm Awake Are You." He did one today. I was in his live, and just a wonderful guy, just a wonderful fella. I look forward to seeing him in heaven. No, I'm not going to do that to him. All right. We will chat with you all again later. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and keep looking up. Go tell somebody if you see me go. We're out of time.